Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting week of Norristown Area High School Eagles football. I'm Dave Fazzini, and along with Mark Kolodinsky, this promises to be a heck of a week. Here we are.
Be scared of our PW.
Well, PW's apparently been talking trash, talking smack, and it's one of those things that teams that aren't very good do in order to convince themselves that they are better than they are. But there was an interesting quote, and I can't remember who the guy was in Top Gun who said it, about your mouth writing checks that your body can't cash, and PW may be guilty of some of that tonight. Now, in PW's defense, Norristown did lose that game last week to a tough league opponent, and PW does have revenge on their side. They took a 41-13 beatdown last year, but basically it was their JV team playing the well-oiled machine that's Norristown's offense. So this year, what does PW have to do in order to stop the juggernaut offense of Norristown?
Well, their top runner, Terrell Steele, 32 carries, 209 yards on the season. Got to get him involved. I mean, obviously that's not exactly Sheldon Mayer-esque numbers, but they got to establish that.
Sins of last week.
Yeah, he hit him the ball and let him do work.
Well, in high school, the speed game wins, and the guy who's faster 9 times out of 10 is going to win. Didn't happen last week for the Eagles, but look for a big offensive night from Roby, from both Mayers, and possibly from fullback Tracy Presley, who's been having a heck of a season as the Eagles' fullback woes have finally seemed to come to an end. So that's it for the pregame show here at Sassano's. Best of all area, best of world pork sandwiches I've been enjoying. I couldn't contain myself. I've been enjoying several bites of this delicious pork sandwich. You got to get down here and see what kind of food they're making. It's absolutely delicious. So we'll see you back at historic Roosevelt Field in just a few. All right, and we are back. We're here at Roosevelt. The lights are on. It's a beautiful evening. And Mark Kolodinsky here as we are about to burst through the paper, a time-honored tradition that has been practiced ever since King Leonidas led his bold 300 through Sparta. They burst through the paper and boldly stopped Xerxes at the Pass of Thermopylae, enabling the later victory at Marathon. But all that aside, we'll be getting back to Greek history later. There's actually a football game here tonight, believe it or not, sports fans. And Mark, I see the banner's already been ripped a little bit. I don't know if that gives them some sort of competitive advantage or that's just an omen of how badly Norristown's going to destroy the Colonials.
They certainly hope so. I mean,
decimated, demolished, just completely blew them away. But that was essentially a JV team. And as we were snacking on delicious pork sandwiches cooked in the old world traditional style at Sassano's, we were also talking about just how that's not going to happen tonight. Norristown wants it to happen, but they can't anticipate another.
Because they couldn't get anything going offensively. And somehow they ended up in that game at the end, and it was that wild finish where Upper Dublin hit a game-winning 42-yarder, and then Jared Fox missed a potential game-tying 34-yarder. But like we kept saying, they shouldn't have been there. It shouldn't have been in that situation. It's a team that they should have had a lot less problems with.
Yeah. So as the captains take the field tonight for PW, number 19, they're in the visiting white, Kevin Schulach. Number 41, John Michael Stoudemire. Number 58, Mark Mallison. And number 65, Brandon Brown. For Norristown, the captains are number 25, Sheldon Mayer, number 81, Evan Battaglio, number 63, Nick Bloomer, and number 65, Big Marcus Robbins, who's also the team's sack leader. Now for our national anthem and the presentation of the colors by our color guard. As the Norristown Marching Eagles finish up their rendition of their output, Mayer's got 688 yards on the season on 80 carries. I don't know what PW's been doing on the ground, but it's not been much. Like we talked about before, they've only scored 39 points, so their offense has been anemic at best.
Yeah, Sheldon Mayer actually has more rushing yards than PW's entire team combined. And it's just interesting that Terrell Steele, in half the attempts, has more yardage. So it'll be interesting to see who they go to and how much success they have, because obviously Joaquin Blythe is their horse, the guy that they want to rely on. but Terrell Steele has really come in and been more successful.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how Steele does against the Norristown offense, or Norristown defense here.
By, I believe that is Marcus Harris.
Good job there by Harris. Nice tackle. Really solid play.
Steele.
Hand. Terrible tackling at best.
So 3 plays, 10 yards for the PW offense. And now they're back at it. Roby comes off the corner, and it's a run with Steele, and Roby catches him from behind.
Roby, right off the corner. We're talking in the pregame show about how to get him more involved. And, Mark, that's a quick way you can make him a game changer right there. Have him come off some blitzes. He's way faster than everybody else. Great play call by Coach E.J. Smith.
Wow. Oh, wow. The dude is a game breaker. And it could be on defense, too. We have yet to see him get that interception or touchdown of an interception, but boy, what a weapon. They hand it off inside, and the kicking woes that last week appeared corrected now appear still to be a problem. Special teams.
He's the man on special teams, Mark. He has this uncanny ability, and Coach Smith knows it too, which is why he puts him at the gunner position. He puts him there to be able to get downfield quickly, and he just does a great job. Akeem Boyd, he's the stud on special teams for the Eagles, and he seems to be making every tackle.
He recovered that kickoff last week. I mean, I've never seen anything like that.
That's hustle.
They just kicked it away on not an onside kick, just a normal kick, and he beat everyone to the ball. So another full house type of a situation for PW, and they hand it off to Steele and get a couple. I mean, we've seen them use that a couple times now, where they put 3 men back in the backfield for additional blocking.
Yeah, a little too much there, but it kind of cues you into what PW's trying to do. They're trying to play a ball control offense against the Eagles, and their ball control, they want to keep the ball away from Mayer. But as you saw
in that loss against Upper Dublin,
he had a great game last week in those circumstances.
Right. 3rd and 11.
But Eagles linebackers, I mean, they're doing what they have to do. They're doing the mop-up duty when the defensive line falls short, but they shouldn't have to be doing that much.
They hand it off, and a big hit on the inside, and they're not going to come close to picking it up. And did they really expect to get a first down with that play?
Terrible play. Roby, again, did a good job. Coach Smith that time faked the corner blitz, but had Roby as outside contain, almost in a defensive end or outside linebacker position. Great job by Roby there staying home. And the defensive line, when Roby kicked it back in, they did a good job. Edwards did a good job along with Bloomer on the inside.
PW to punt it away. It's a low line drive and short kick out of bounds, and not too good of a punt. But at least they kept it away from Mayer.
They kept it away from Mayer. Like I said last week, taking a knee sometimes is preferable to kicking.
They're drawn up. Mayer drops back to throw. Being flushed out of the pocket now. He's in trouble. Throws it short for Battaglio. He's going to try to get it on his legs, and he's short. He's brought down just shy of the marker. And that's going to be a turnover on downs.
Battaglio's got to get to the marker. He sees that his quarterback's in trouble, but it doesn't really do you that much good it doesn't do you any good at all if you don't pick up the first. If your quarterback's going to get sacked, he's going to lose another 5 yards. What's that? You've got to pick up the first, so that's got to be your first priority as a receiver. Battaglio's got to get downfield on that and break loose. In fact, if he'd gotten another 5 yards on that, he'd have been gone, because if Mayer was able to see him out in the flat, he'd have been behind the backers and he'd have been in for a touchdown.
But Shannon Mayer, in the face of some intense pressure, has looked pretty good. He's dumping the ball off.
Defense, but they're pass defense. So, again, make them stop me.
Come out in certainly a running formation. They hand it off to Steele. He's got it. Bounces it outside a little bit, but still picks it up.
Yep, still picks it up. I go right back to Steele on the next play. I give him 30 carries this game. Norristown's run defense has been poor. They've not been taking pride in it.
It killed them last week,
Killed him.
and now it's starting to become a concern because it's happening again.
I'm starting to hate this song. In fact, I think I've always hated it, and this is just awakening it in me some more. I don't know. Nothing personal, Wilson Pickett. I'm just not a fan of that song. I don't know if that makes me a bad person. I don't think it does, though.
Despite music selection,
Yeah.
it's a great atmosphere today.
Great atmosphere.
Of course, we all know about the great rivalry. A lot of these Norristown and Plymouth Whitmarsh fans
A spirited rivalry.
know each other and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, of course, the geographical situation. And, yeah, we got a heck of a crowd.
Heck of a crowd. Right down the road. And a beautiful night. Couldn't ask for a better night than this. The weather forecast was wrong. Every weather forecaster predicted a drenching, a torrential downpour. But obviously that didn't happen. It's fun under the sun here. And an atmosphere reminiscent of San Diego.
Once again, that full house type of a formation with 3 men in the backfield. They hand it off to Steele again. Why not? And again, with about 3 or 4 yards.
This time, a little more successful, but still, you know, moving the pile along. Let's see where they halted his forward progress. Yeah, about three yards on that one.
An interesting type of a position now brought in motion. Well, the Eagles' defense has bent but not broken.
They're going to break eventually. I mean, they just keep getting beat down like this right up the middle, just gashed and gored and gutted.
Shotgun formation, they give it to Steele. Up the middle he goes, and he's got about, give him 7.
Why not? The defensive linemen are not staying down. They're springing up like little jacks in the boxes, and they're getting blasted. They're just getting blown, their doors blown off. Blown backwards badly.
And Bloomer comes off the field to be replaced by Robbins, and they're so deep on the D-line with guys like Edwards and Exum coming off the bench. So, I don't know, this defensive line that has been such a strength over the first 4 games has been a weakness over the last 1+. Play action here. Eluding the sack is O'Neal, now throwing near sideline. Steele was well covered by Boyd. He just threw it anyway, but it was off target.
I think it was stupid for them to throw. Why would you do that? Be running, never throw.
They've been throwing quite sparingly thus far for that reason.
Yeah.
And why they diverted, I'm not sure.
I can't imagine that they would have thought they could beat the Norristown defensive backs off the ball, because they certainly can. I'm confused.
3rd and 4. O'Neal hands it off. That's Ellington, and let's see if they give it to him. It looks like he's going to be a little bit short.
But they're going to go for it on 4th down and pick it up here.
Yeah. They'll at least try.
I can see the future. I bet you didn't know that, Mark. I can see the future. That's how I'm having all these bold prognostications. I'm saying crazy things that are happening because I actually know beforehand that they're going to happen. But I feel like in the movie 12 Monkeys, where they're talking about the Cassandra complex, the foredestined to see the future, but yet not being.
They come out with 4 receivers. And Presley in the backfield. Mayer drops back. He's under some pressure, but he throws and has an open Roby, and he's got him. Roby falls forward for an additional 2 yards, and they get all the way out to the PW 36.
That's a mirror image of that pass that he threw him the first time, showing that Shannon's capable of getting that ball across his body, and really good decision. Great pass. Get the ball to Roby more, please. Just do what we ask. You'll win games.
And the connection looks great so far. That's the 2nd time we've seen Shannon make a real solid throw like that. Just finding him open and sitting down in the secondary.
Yep.
Sheldon with the handoff. He's met at the line and wrapped up by several white jerseys.
If they can get this Sheldon.
Going to be brought down. Or was that just a situation where
They're playing a prevent defense. I don't know why PW bothers calling this timeout.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're not going downfield.
Maybe they can take a shot or something. And although that could probably And
that benefits
for
the Eagles.
and
That
well for
benefits the Eagles if they take a shot deep, because then you're basically punting the Roby. Throwing a big high floater, you're punting a Roby. Or Milo Hill.
So 2nd and 6, we're just about at the conclusion of the first half as it's just 16 seconds away from expiring.
Fast-moving game.
Very, and the Eagles with that 13-0 lead on the Derek Williams fumble recovery touchdown
Yeah,
and the Sheldon Mayer punt return touchdown.
yeah. This is not last year's PW Colonials team. The Eagles are getting disemboweled by. They're going to go. That's the right call. Going into halftime, you're getting the ball back after the half, and Mark, you've got to be happy with 13-0. But your defense, you sit them down, you grab them by the face mask, and you scream in their faces for 10 minutes. A disgraceful effort. The worst effort you could possibly have while not giving up any points, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, certainly, and they're, like I said, some playmakers have bailed them out with Sheldon Mayer's long punt return and Derek Williams' fumble recovery return. But yeah, I mean, it's a great point, and they're just winning the time possession battle, and that's why the Eagles haven't had a chance to make this a blowout game that we know it could be.
Yeah.
I mean, they've only had the ball a couple times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with the PW controlling the clock the way they are, keeping the Eagles' offense off the field, they're keeping it within reach. The Eagles can't blow it open.
They can't blow.
Field, hence the just a 13-point lead when, like you said, if not for that great ball control by PW, Norristown has twice as many possessions. They have twice as many touchdowns with the likes of Mayer, the other Mayer,
Yeah.
Roby, so on and so forth. So stop of the run definitely is by far got to be the main focus of the second half, right?
They have to stop the run, and they get the ball first, which is a good sign. I mean, they get the ball first. They can do some ball control of their own. So perhaps a quick hitter, quick score, get the ball back, and then really start grinding it out. You want that quick score because you want to drive it home. You want to make it 20-0 in a hurry. You want to go and prove to this team that they are not good. And the only way to prove it to them is with a quick score, explosive, something that PW can't possibly counteract. But Norristown hasn't done that yet, so we'll see if they're capable of doing it here in the second half. So we're going to bring it back to the on-the-field action. That's it for us in the booth, and we'll see you in a few for the second half. Some PVC, because this is going to be a comedy real soon, if it's not already.
What do you want him to do? Just put Kevin O'Neill in a pumpkin cannon and just fire him to the end zone?
Fire him in the end zone. It's a circus. Why not have some clowns?
Sheldon Mayer smacked in the backfield for a loss of 2.
I throw it deep to Roby. Go deep. Let Shannon Mayer stretch his arm and let him have a little bit of fun here in the second half.
Yeah, we talked about those 3 interceptions last week and how that can't, and so far we don't think it has, discouraged them from continuing to throw the ball down the field. Shannon Mayer's looked really, really good today. He hasn't made any spectacular plays, but he's been just dead solid, consistent.
He's put the ball in traffic without fear, and that's after last week. I didn't know in the face of pressure. I didn't know he was going to do that. Showing blitz.
They show blitz. Mayer drops back, throws deep for a run.
That, like you said, Mark, exactly right. Now that it's purely a passing game for the Colonials, and they can't pass except for that one notable exception, they've really awakened here.
Short pass out to the near sideline. And they're able to make a couple men miss, but just a short gain.
Yep, short gain. That's going to bring up a 4th down, and what do? You go for it, I guess.
You got to, because a field goal, it's still a 3-score game. That would make it 20-3. And no, you got to dig into this, trying to make it a 2-possession game.
Yeah. Yeah, field goal really doesn't do you any good here.
Not much. It wouldn't make a lot of sense.
It saves you the shame of a shutout, I guess. But you can't think like that.
Right. I mean, they do. They're certainly not out of this game.
No.
Just by the mere.
Scoreboard had 28-0, was some sort of like ghostly prognosticator. It was just there for no reason. There was no reason for it to be, but yet it appeared. And it seems as if someone or something knew.
It must have been you, because you can tell the future.
I could work the scoreboard with my mind, like Neo in the Matrix.
But now it's more of an issue. What you said. Now you can run up the score.
I want to
Because
destroy them.
if you make mistakes or whatever, I mean, this game's pretty well in hand.
Yeah.
Not completely, but I mean, come on, realistically. Yeah. So now, if you want to throw it deep to Aunt Roby, go ahead and do it. I
want to see a complete utter destruction, and I want the ground sown with salt so nothing can ever grow there again. I want a 59-0 or 60-0 shellacking. I want touchdowns after touchdowns. I want explosions. I want doom, apocalyptic doom.
They're holding nothing back.
No.
Well, because again, the coaches can hear you and they're listening to you,
right,
clamoring for the running up the score as they pick up a nice solid chunk of yardage on the ground there.
Might not be the most sportsmanlike thing in the world, but man, it really helps the second half broadcast.
And heck, I mean, yeah, it's great to run up the score on your rival and they're taking dirty hits on your quarterback or whatever. But also, it's nice to run some of this stuff, these passing plays that you might not be able to run in close games because you don't have full confidence in them. You want to get some things worked out. You want to get some game time work in with some of these things. You could try out some new things. If you just run the ball, I mean, we know what Sheldon Mayer can do, you know.
Yeah.
But try out, get some work with some of the stuff.
Yeah, the blowouts I call the Los Alamos games. You test out the weapons on basically what is empty space.
They hand it off to Mayer, and he falls forward for a gain of about 3. And punch those in. The game takes an entirely different shape. And so the defense. Here goes Roby.
Yeah.
Roby at the 20.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the room at the 10. Oh, a flag. Forget it. He's down the sideline, out of bounds. Aunt Roby, I believe that's his second of the season. Let's look at the stats.
There's always a flag.
Aunt Roby, that is his second interception on the year. He's trying to catch Milo Hill, who has 3. But
I won my Roby pick 6. I won it. That was as close as I've come.
That was basically a punt to Aunt Roby.
A punt to Aunt Roby.
Boy, they threw it right to 2 Eagles. That wasn't even close. But they had to have a flag. Of course, I don't know if he was going anywhere anyway, but...
What?
I don't know if he was going anywhere anyway.
Disgusting. It just flies back to me. A boomerang. How mysterious.
2 minutes left.
Oh, time to laugh.
Before the Eagles go to 5-1 and erase the bad taste that they got from that Upper Dublin game. Hand it off to Shippen. He's got some room up the middle. So you got some backups in for the Eagles, but you wouldn't know it unless we pointed it out because they're picking up right where the starters left off.
In Shippen's limited playing experience, he's been playing well this year. He's doing a good job and really nice. Nice play by the young man. Oh, boy.
3rd and 1. This game, of course, for all intents and purposes, already over.
Yeah.
And the Eagles backups in. And it's great for the guys like Sheldon Mayer to get some rest.
Eagles are to PW. I mean, we're talking SATs. Let's make an analogy.
That's good.
Sasano's pork
That's good.
sandwiches.
That's outstanding.
Sasano's pork sandwiches runs up Sheldon Mayer kind of yardage on other pork sandwiches. It just beats them up and embarrasses them. Sasano's is awesome, awesome food.
Yeah,
Get down there in the Logan Square Shopping Center. You want to eat at Sasano's. They are just delicious.
We thank the folks there for allowing us to shoot and for giving us that great food. But yeah, if you missed that pregame show, catch our next broadcast because that'll make you want to check it out.
I was eating during the pregame show. I couldn't contain myself.
7 seconds left in the game. Prieto takes the snap, hand off to Harris. And, yeah, pick up a couple, but the game's over. It's 27-0. The Eagles do indeed put that Upper Dublin debacle behind them and run their...
And not heads-up football. In fact, sometimes he's going to see him playing 2 heads-up football because they spring up like a jack-in-the-box and then they get blown 5 yards off the ball. But all of that is remedied by just the smackdown they put on PW tonight.
Sheldon Mayer with 3 touchdowns, 1 return and a punt. He had one called back receiving.
Yep.
Almost had the cycle of touchdowns, but
the cycle. Yeah.
with receiving, rushing, and punting. But the receiving one was called back, but still 2 long rushing touchdowns, another long punt return touchdown, 14 touchdowns down the season for Mr. Mayer, picking up right where he left off from last year. In fact, even having a better season than last year. And he can cover up a lot of deficiencies in a team.
Just the ultimate weapon for Norristown. And as they run off the field to the acclaim of the large crowd here at Roosevelt, much deserved acclaim, they could feel...
the penalties last week and the turnovers, that needs to stay out of the Eagles game. And it's very encouraging that they turned the ball over very few. I believe they just had that one Shannon Mayer interception.
Upper Merrick to be some more great, hard-hitting football action. Until next week, I'm Dave Fazzini, and along with Mark